Welcome to Workshop Wednesdays with Tony Gambone, where you will learn how to build your business and take it to the next level. Brought to you by the Tough Talk Radio Network. Now here's your host, Tony Gambone.
All right. Excuse me. Welcome to the show. I'm losing my voice here a little bit this week, so hope you can bear with me. But, hey, we've had a great week so far here at the Tough Talk Radio Network. As always, we have great shows lined up Monday through Friday. Make sure to check us out at toughtalkradionetwork.com. And here on Workshop Wednesdays, we come to you live every Wednesday from 10:30 to 11:30 Central Standard Time. And, we're really excited today because, well, one of our guests has been with us before, and I'll tell you, we just love having her on the show because of what she brings. Her name is Dianne Collins, and she's written a book, Do You QuantumThink, a new thinking that will rock your world. So we're real excited about that. We'll have her up here in the second half of the show. And for today, I want to talk to you about a few things. I'm always trying to make sure that we cover what's going on in our world, world of business, just the world of life, I guess, because one of the things that I see all the time is that what happens on the news affects a lot of us, but what takes place in our world allows a lot of us to gain attitude, to gain distraction, to gain a lot of things, some knowledge and some ignorance. We've seen the Supreme Court ruling. If you haven't seen it, you haven't been on Facebook because it's blasted all over the place. And we know that whatever the decision was, there's always going to be people that aren't happy and that are happy. But what confuses me is the way people have to express their happiness or unhappiness. I mean, I know the Internet is a great tool, and social media really helps us get the message out. But before you click the post button on something, make sure to recognize how your post will market you as a person, as a business owner, as someone that other people would want to reach out and gain access to. Now, I know we all have different opinions, and, we live in a country where freedom of speech is an opportunity for all of us. But freedom is expressed a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to go down this whole road, but I just want to bring out a point. One decision made last week has turned the world or our country upside down with commenting. Some good, some bad, some not needed, some much needed. I don't have an opinion to announce here today, but one thing I want to point out of it is it's a distraction. The other thing I want to talk about is Donald Trump. Okay, now we know that Donald Trump is running for president, supposedly, for all kinds of reasons. Probably most would think for publicity. I know that the media is just loving the idea that they'll have someone to run around with. Networks have dropped him from the TV shows. And one thing about Donald, he stands strong. And one of the questions I have is, if we're all allowed to have freedom of speech, where do you draw that line? I mean, what part of rude or ignorant do you draw it to? It just always seems to keep growing and growing and growing, right? I mean, 25 years ago, things were different than they are today. 50 years ago, they were different from today. The line keeps stretching. So a lot of things in our world happen that we don't like, but there's a lot of things that no one's ever done anything about except moan and complain. And here on Workshop Wednesdays, one of the things I always like to bring to attention is how it affects your life as a business owner or as a person. Because let's face it, if you don't deal with the person first, business really never does go anywhere. And if it does, it's not worth anything because the owner as a person doesn't have the value that they need to take care of achieving the benefits they want out of it. So for me, it always has something to do to where you spend your free time. Now, look, sitting in front of the TV watching Dancing with the Stars probably isn't going to hurt you, but it is some good downtime, I guess, but it's not going to help educate you unless you're into dance. Or maybe you're into sitting down with your spouse or your children and watching a show together. There's a good reason. When I see all these people making these comments on TV, on social media, in small parties, in their own homes, I wonder what they tell their children about that. I wonder if they explain to them why they feel that they could act so rude or ignorant in public, but yet tell your children, mind your manners. Now, I'm just saying, that's just a question I always have. How about you? Do you have that question? I know that the more transparent you are, the better things are. I also know that it's very hard to be transparent. So for me, I like to make sure that when someone comes in my world and they are bringing something to the table that doesn't sound exactly what I believe, I let them finish. And I wait to see if they want my opinion. And if they do, I give it to them. And if they don't, I just take it as, well, that's just the way it is, right? I'm not forced to do anything with it. I'm not forced to make sure that I have a comment, good, bad, or otherwise. I'm not forced to make sure that you believe like I believe, because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me. It's all about the person speaking. Excuse me, I've been losing my voice this week, so I apologize for my voice. But so the thing of it is, in your business, as you go through your daily day, do you use social media? If you do you get distracted from what's on it? I mean, do you spend all day watching all the Tough Talk Radio Network posts on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn? Geez, I hope so. But more than likely you don't. Now, you might see them scrolling through. But what is it that you stop on? What is it that you read? What makes you stop your scroll and look at something, let's say, on Facebook? So I had a conversation with a doctor yesterday out of California, and he's trying to promote a book. He's a really smart guy. He's a really top-notch healer. He's into holistic as well as medical, and he's been doing this a long time. One of the things he asked me was how he could market his book. Would internet radio be the only way? I said, internet radio is a great platform. I mean, let's face it, there's over 140 million people a month listening to it. It's a great way to get your message out without leaving your surrounding area. But what about social media? Well, the doc's up in his 60s, maybe late 50s, early 60s. And Facebook's not really a big part of his. He has a Facebook page because they told him he should have one, but he doesn't know who's on it. How about you? Do you have a Facebook page? Is it a personal and a business? Is it just a business? Is it just personal? What do you do on it? Is it something to show pictures to your family? If you're a business owner, you should have a business page and a personal page. Do you know who's following you? Do you know if they have any interest in what you do? Do you ever go out and ask them a question? Do you ever see who comments on it? Just think about this a second. I go on and I post something like, let's see, what can I say? I have a program called the Gambone program, And in the Gambone program, it's a acronym used for 6 words: growth, accountability, marketing, belief, leverage, and enjoyment. So every day for 6 days in a row, I go out and ask a question. When I say the word growth, what's the first word that comes to your mind? Boom, done. People go through and they answer it. I say thank you. That makes 2 comments for 1. Well, after you get 5 comments, then it just kind of keeps going, but the little number of comments adds up. So when someone goes by and sees 40 comments, and 20 of them are actually me, thanking the people for making a comment, they want to see more. So what did I get them to do? I got them to stop, investigate, look into what I'm doing, and be a part of what I'm doing. That allows me to understand who in my community is paying attention. So if you're out there, you're trying to sell a book, program, maybe you're trying to build your list. There's something that you do in life that you could go out there and either give a tip, ask a question. I mean, you can sing a song, do a dance, do whatever you want, right? But the thing of it is, if you go out there and make it available to the people in your community, you will know a couple of things. 1, who to take off your community so you can make room for more. 2, who is in your community that cares. 3, who could be a possible prospect. And 4, you'll be able to ask them if they'd like to sign up for your newsletter. So if you had a book or you sell a product or a service, you can give up an article or a chapter in your newsletter for them. See how that works? It's not complicated. You didn't have to go out and hire a high-end social media person right away. It is needed. You didn't have to go out and spend a lot of money marketing because you're there anyway, reading everybody's gossip and drama. Okay? So just think about it. If you spend as much time next week as you did this week reading about the uh, gay community and the Donald Trump drama on Facebook this week. Now, I don't have an opinion either way, so don't get me wrong here. What I'm saying is if you spend as much time on Facebook next week as you did this week reading that, you would be able to find who in your community wants to do business with you, has something in common with you, could be a resource for you, or just be part of your community at a different level. So it's important, folks. Then when your community grows and you need to keep up more on social media and you made a few dollars from the process, you can then shop around for a VA that can handle your social media, and you would be understanding more about what you want out of it. So when someone says you need a social media person, don't say, yeah, I do. I hate doing it. Ask why. What are they going to do for you? What's it going to do for you? What are your expectations you're expecting to get out of it? What are all the steps that are going to take place? How will they meet them? What will it cost me? So, let's face it, the old story, right? I come to your house. I want to remodel your kitchen. I tell you it's $40,000. You're not going to just write me a check. You're going to want to know my experience, what kind of cabinets. Is there a granite selection? Is there anybody else I could talk to that you spent money with you that got a happy feeling out of it? You're going to want to ask some questions. So just because someone says, I can take care of all your social media, now I don't care if it's $19 a day, $19 a month, or $19 a year. The cost doesn't matter. Knowing what you're paying for is important. Because if you don't get what you think you should get, it's going to turn you away from using that tool, and then you defeat. Understand why you're paying the money. Okay? If you bought a car and you upgrade it to the next model, you know why you're paying more. It's a bigger car. Understand what you're paying for. Understand what you're going to get out of it. You know you're getting a bigger car. It's going to give you less gas mileage, but it's going to give you more comfort. It's going to give you more room. Weigh it out. Be able to make a professional decision by taking the time to ask professional questions. And don't just go by the first person you meet. It's like hiring a coach. Have an outside contractor work for you in your business is very important, that you two are like-minded, understand each other, are able to work together, and kind of even like each other, going towards the same target. So think about that, folks. This week I'd like to challenge you to something. I'd like you to go on your Facebook page and ask 5 questions, 1 per day for a week, and see what happens. Now look, don't say who wants to buy my product. Don't say, who needs a coach. And don't intimidate people. Have a friendly conversation. Remember, it's not about you. It's about them. We want to know what about them. We want to make sure they want to come and join us. They're not going to join us if we're selling them. They're going to come if we welcome them. So be smart. Do your due diligence. Make sure that you get on top of it and come up with 5 questions. The story about the plumber, if he gives you a tip a week, how to fix the toilet handle, how to put a new seat on, how to take the screen out of the faucet. When the toilet breaks, who are you going to call? The guy that's standing in front of you with the tips. Your choice. You can work as hard as you want. But while you're at home, jacking around on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, start using it for what it's for. And a marketing tool. Are you going to become rich out of it? No. But what's going to come out of it? I can tell you one thing is going to come. More. If you can get more out of what you do, you're on the right page. You're in the right direction to gain success. My name's Tony Gambone. We're here on Workshop Wednesdays. You can find out more about the show by going to workshop-wednesdays.com. You can check us out on Facebook under Tony Gambone, under Tough Talk Radio. You can find me on Twitter at TTR Network or Tony Gambone. We love for people to call into the show, 347-989-1363. You can always find us here on the Tough Talk Radio Network 5 days a week. If you're interested in hosting your own show, hey, check us out. Go to toughtalkradionetwork.com and click on Become a Host. Remember, 143 million people